Durag Wisdom here, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Y2K21.01.19. One day to inauguration. One freaking day. The music you're hearing in the background today is by the late great Ennio Morricone. Ennio Morricone. The good, the bad, and the ugly. Let me just say that this is my junior high school graduation portrait. Nah, really, it's Frederick March's Academy Award winning version of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, the way he played it. My favorite Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, by the way. I love Hawaiian shirts, so anybody who's new, who's looking at this page for the first time, I'm not a boogaloo creep. They have co-opted the great Hawaiian shirts and trying to make it their own. I'm not going to allow them to take away my love of Hawaiian shirts. Remember Hawkeye Pierce from MASH? He loved Hawaiian shirts. They're trying to besmirch Hawaiian shirts the way they have been besmirching our American flag. I will never forget that day in 1971 when I attended a demonstration against the Nazi Party of El Monte, California. I was 20, young and naive about certain things, and in retrospect, am glad that the protest was well organized. That none of us got lost, because if it wasn't well organized, I could have ended up dead. At one point, I noticed two characters standing by the American flagpole outside the Nazi flag emblazoned house. The Hitler flag that they had on the roof itself covered the entire thing. And I was standing there basically, I didn't have anybody around me except other people that I didn't know. The two characters reminded me of some lowriders I knew. You know, the tattoos, you know, some of them had this, you know, either a short kind of haircut, or they could have like a front. That's when you have the hair where the front of it is way up high and then it goes back. Both of them gave me this look that I never forgot. It said that they would like to murder me right there on the spot with pain. There is the look of anger, there's the look of hate, and then there's this special look, a dead kind of look, a dead-eyed kind of look. These young Nazi acolytes had them all, and directed with death ray focus on me. Fortunately, one of the protest organizers pulled me away before anything could happen, and who knows how many more of the same were hanging out behind us. Like I said, the protest was well organized, and there was a strong police presence. I was so enraged after that I left the protest, for many reasons besides the fact that this was a freaking outrage. I was lucky that I had a couple of friends with me that day, so we decided to let some steam off, you know, relaxed, go see it. You know, we're in Los Angeles, we're in Hollywood, go see the new Sam Peckinpah movie, playing at the luxurious Pantages Theater. The new movie, Straw Dogs, no less, on its premiere run. I don't know if you've ever seen this movie. We probably should have gone to see a comedy because I left the theater with a throbbing headache. Straw Dogs, it turned out, was a movie in part about hatred and about fear. It shows what an angry gang can do. It introduces you with its characters to the kinds of thinking that lead to naked apes murdering each other. And that's a massive generalization, folks, but this isn't an essay about the cinematic techniques of Sam Peckinpah and Straw Dogs. It's just funny that right after this encounter I had, we went to see that movie. And that was the first time I saw it. I learned a very important lesson that day. It was that those people, the ones that hate others because of their race or because of simply who they are, will murder the people they despise without a shred of doubt if given the chance. I knew about Nazism and white supremacism. I was exposed to Holocaust history of the Second World War. But this was the first time that I locked my eye contact with actual Nazi creeps, and I knew they were serious. I've sadly been serious constantly throughout my life. You know, they say lighten up, don't be so serious. And I had to be even more serious and even more wary, especially since this creep was elected into our lives, Trump. Our country was founded on conquering native people and enslaving other human beings. The new settlers started out enslaving mostly white bondsmen whom they would release after they had paid their debt. So the idea came to enslave black people whom they considered less human and could be subject to barbaric treatment and slavery for the rest of their lives. The war of the white people against the ones who are not never ended in our country with the end of slavery. The battle for rights went on, and supremacist violence was the order of the day for at least 100 years after the end of slavery. The Jim Crow era. The era of mass lynching. And it didn't get any better for the hate mongers because their formerly white country, of course we're not talking about Native Americans before them, was rapidly becoming a mongrel melting pot of miscegenation. Latin, Jews, they aren't really white, but hide behind its mask because the original Jews were of color. And more people from the so-called shithole countries of Trumpian myth. There is no doubt in my mind that we never got rid of the Mr. Hyde to our Dr. Jekyll. White supremacist hatred has always existed in our country, and for the most part it was rejected, most especially after the Civil Rights era. Hate groups were rejected and forced to go into the shadows where they would foment their racist hatred to a white fury. They were all simply standing by, waiting until the day came when they had someone on their side at the highest level. And that day tragically came when Trump descended on that escalator into history, and later, as president, to recognize that there are nice people on the Nazi side too. Trump is praised by those that support him as doing the most for their cause, and he did, in picking the rightest wing fanatic judges that you can have ever imagined. And more importantly, he dragged the hate mongers out of the shadows and out of the sewers into the light and gave them legitimacy. Once you open that Pandora's box, you can't close it. Study the rise in white supremacist hatred since Trump was defecated into our White House, and then fast forward to what happened in our Capitol. And there's a lot of tragic crap in between. These thugs were armed to the teeth and ready for war. I've never heard tell, again, that once you open a Pandora's box, you can put everything back in and lock it forever. I learned a great deal that day in El Monte, a long, long time ago. And that lesson was reinforced by the Nazi we managed to allow into our Oval Office. White supremacists have one main goal: to make the USA a whites-only, quote-unquote, democratic, quote-unquote, religious republic. They are not joking when it comes to their bigotry, ladies and gentlemen. Many of these people are simply sociopathic and will murder without hesitation or even a cause. But then again, they're in a cause. And if they have to murder every single person of color, and the Jews too, my tribe, to see their goal of a white country come true, they will most certainly do it. I am sorry to say that civil war could be closer than we think. My heart goes out to our entire country because of the scenes I am seeing before my eyes on the TV. What a bunch of traitorous scum! There is going to be an armed presence in Washington on Inauguration Day. The likes only seen overseas in war-torn foreign countries. I am not surprised, nor I was ever surprised by anything Trump did. I knew terrible things were going to happen to us and to our country when we allowed him to be elected. On his way out, and with a reality show flourish, Trump is leaving our country in a mess, which I hope does not lead us down the path to that second civil war. Once Trump legitimized the extremist Nazi, white supremacist scum, it is going to be extremely difficult to get these fiends back into their holes and to make them burn their stand back and stand by QAnon t-shirts. If Trump is not held accountable, and if we don't punish the traitors who stormed our house to the fullest extent of the law possible, we've simply smashed the Pandora's box, now useless on the floor in its protection for us against the monsters. With just one day to inauguration, this racist Pandora's box may never ever be closed.